Hello, Beard Wizard family and the Warning Army. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Beard Wizard Man, also known as Trevor on social media. Links of which you're going to find in that video description below, including ways to support this channel. Like clicking that red subscribe button. We're picking up our momentum again, but I need more. I need more clicks. We want to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need all the help I can get to get there. It's a big goal. It's almost 2,000 more than where we started at the beginning of the year. And we've been able to grow exponentially every year, which is fantastic. So I've set this high goal, and I think we can reach it. So do click the red subscribe button and join the Beard Wizard family. There's some other monetary ways, but for a while I'm kind of talking about this charity that I helped support recently with proceeds from last year's profits from selling books. The herocompany.co actually helps pair veterans, wounded veterans, veterans suffering from PTSD, etc., with service dogs. And so if you go to theherocompany.co, you can buy things like hats, bracelets, keychains, those kinds of things. And the proceeds from those sales go to help put service members and service dogs together, which is a fantastic thing. Pairing people who need dogs with dogs who need people is great, and it helps veterans and it helps dogs, and it's generally a good thing. So if you're interested in helping anybody out monetarily, obviously if you want to help the channel you can, but I would encourage you to go check out theherocompany.co and see if they have anything you like. And again, help spare service members with dogs, which is a great thing. I think is awesome. So anyway, it's the Warning Wednesday, and we finished up chapter 1 and chapter 2 reviewing Queen of the Murder Scene songs. And just like last time, we're going to watch the next vlog about chapter 3. Now, I may have already reviewed the songs in chapter 3, but I haven't watched this yet. I haven't listened to their commentary on the writing, the direction, and everything behind the songs. So we're going to take a look at this. Again, this is a reaction versus a review, but it's still live. It's still me. It's still all the raw, everything that you normally get. But I have not watched this before. This is going to be the first time. Because it's not music, it's not really something you can review. So we're going to watch it together, and I will pause when necessary from time to time. Now, in the event the stream stops, sometimes when I do longer live stuff, YouTube's algorithm starts kicking in the copyright stuff and things. It sometimes shuts down the stream. So in the event that the stream just goes down or the video stops, we'll do a part 2. I just don't want to get a strike, so I may have to stop the stream ahead of time. We'll see. We'll see if we can get through it. We were able to get through the last one. We'll see if we can get through this one. If you're here in the live stream, say hi. If you're watching the recording, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Welcome, whoever is here. I see a couple people have already popped in. But this is vlog number 25. This is the warning. The young women talking about chapter 3 of Queen of the Murder Scene.
Hello again.
Hello.
Okay.
Cheers.
So we were
Salud.
missing chapter 3 and 4. So I guess should we do it all in the same
No,
vlog?
I think it should be different vlogs.
So 3.
Chapter 3. Awesome. Okay. So
Make some notes.
we start off with Sinister Smiles. As you know, this is a duet between Pao and me.
How nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Pao and I.
I have not
Okay,
reviewed that one.
So technically, what is happening? Okay, the last song was the sacrifice, right?
Yeah, the last
So
one was
as
the
yeah,
sacrifice
as you
is
remember,
the introduction of this like character that is the voices in her head. She literally feels so alone
Nice.
that she creates.
that she like her subconscious creates like this other voice, like this other person inside her head. And
That's
basically
trying to,
the
make
sacrifice
her feel
is
better.
like, hey, I'm here to support you, but like let's say that this voice, this character, it's not a good voice, it's not a good
No,
character.
it wasn't.
Slowly.
It's the
trying to take
antagonist,
over.
basically. So Sinister Smiles is that like internal struggle of like
Okay.
our main character fighting against the voice in her head, and in the end of that song, the voice in her head wins and like takes over.
Yes.
And
as the song says, like the voice is repeating over and over and over, just break apart.
break,
Yes.
just break.
Interesting. So yeah, I'm glad to know that like sometimes when you review songs, when you give your own interpretation of songs, you don't always get it right. You don't always get the message, because art, music, stories, art is often subjective, and it often means something to the listener or the reader that wasn't intended by the author because of the circumstances that they're currently going through. There are many times where people will read something, and depending on what is currently happening in their life, they'll read a passage or they'll read a scene or an event differently than other people might because of what they're currently going through. The best example of that are stories like parables, or if you think of the Bible, for example. If you're familiar with the Bible is full of a lot of parables, a lot of stories that are meant to be applicable to different periods in your life depending on what you're going through. They're messages. They're not exactly direct story narrative in a sense. You could talk like Aesop's fables, or the Grimm's fairy tales. The similar concept. While those are narrative stories, they have messages in them that often mean different things to different people at different times. And so when you hear the author tell you that, yeah, you interpreted what I wrote the way I wrote it, that means that's important to me as a writer, because you have on the flip side of that, a lot of people, subscribe to the death of the author idea that it doesn't matter what the author meant. It only matters what the reader or the listener gets out of it, which I don't subscribe to that. As an author, obviously, while I accept that readers are often going to get something different out of a story, author's intent is not completely out of the picture. When somebody says, oh, I saw this in the scene, that's cool. You saw that in that scene. I'm glad that scene meant something to you, but that's not what that scene meant. Both of those are valid. But to know that I landed right when I was reviewing some of the songs from the last chapter, that's important, because I want to make sure that I'm getting their message, not just what the song means to me, but what they meant it to mean. That's kind of important to me as a writer.
Let me take control of everything. Actually, the kind of turning point between this character and it's actually in the sacrifice, where she said, like, all the pain will be mine, like, let me just take over. And
take over everything. Smiles, it's that part where
he's fighting.
Writing. I'm supposed to be like good girl. Danny's supposed to be like,
well, not necessarily good girl.
Oh wait, main character girl then.
Innocent, like that.
Well, not innocent. Well, no. Basically, in that song, like, my voice is supposed to be like
the
main
confused,
character, and Danny's supposed to be like the evil voice.
Yes.
And
I know.
In the end, the evil voice wins. Like, Danny wins.
Yes.
And basically, Dull Knives is like the character taking over by like that voice, like fully
enjoying,
like, no, like basically turning into this new, like, coming out.
So wait, have we jumped to a different?
Queen of the murder
that
scene.
she's just realizing, like.
Yeah, and Queen of the murder scene is her fully accepting the title.
Have we jumped to two
like,
different?
This is what I'm supposed to be, which is not
and
really
don't
a good
mess
message.
with her, because
she's the Queen of the murder scene.
She's scary.
Oh, yes. Queen of the murder scene was really fun to write. It started with.
So it sounds like we've jumped from Sinister Smiles to Dull Knives and then Queen of the murder scene. I don't know. Which I've reviewed both of those. I haven't reviewed Sinister Smiles, so I'm looking forward to checking that one out. And then we may have to do the next vlog after that to do chapter 4, because I've already reviewed those two songs. So I wonder, let me do a quick Google. I wonder if it'll show me if I could type because I think they jumped from the first song to the next two, and we didn't really get a sinister. Yes, okay, they kind of did. They kind of went from Sinister Smiles to Dull Knives to Queen of the Murder Scene without any warning, which we have already done reviews of Dull Knives and Queen of the Murder Scene. So I'm not going to re-review those, but I will do the next vlog before I do the last chapter of Queen of the Murder Scene, which I've only done Hunter off the last chapter. So that's good. We'll get two more reviews out of the last chapter. But yeah, that's so they're jumping around a little bit, which is normal. I write with a writing partner sometimes, and we bounce ideas off each other, and we're always correcting each other. No, this is what happened. No, this is what we did, and back and forth, because it's hard to keep it all straight sometimes, because your mind is going a million miles a minute, and then you've got two brains doing the same thing, and here they've got three. It's an interesting dynamic, and I like to see that.
Basically, all the melodies in the song were guitar melodies, were guitar parts.
Actually, I just had the chorus on a guitar, like the chorus. You see, like the yes.
Was only a guitar
That's
chord.
the only thing. We actually had a lot of trouble with that song.
It was a very difficult song to write because the lyrics, man.
Not only the lyrics, the music. Because
it's like
I did that part,
I think the
and
dog
then
is playing.
we realized that we started to fill in the parts of the song, and we realized that it was all like the same chord.
It's one chord, right?
It's one chord.
It's well now.
I
it's,
like that
well,
song.
now we
too.
changed
more
it,
chords,
but
right?
first it was one chord, like the whole
it was
song.
really hard to write.
Yes.
I remember that we struggled a lot.
Yeah.
It was one of
How you
the-
doing, Paul?
Like
Welcome.
in like terms of struggle, it was like and then Queen of the Murder Scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man,
the songs that you start.
Yeah, the songs that I started, I usually
Yeah,
know.
the songs that Danny started
I'm so
are
sorry.
usually like.
I love
the
that
worst
giving.
part. But that
I love it. They kind of give each other crap, and it's good to see that's a healthy dynamic, because they're not like digging at each other. They're just kind of giving each other, ribbing each other a little bit for the challenges that they face when they're in this creative process. That is a normal, healthy dynamic. Unfortunately, a lot of bands, and even family bands, even bands that, if you go way back and look at bands that were put together because of siblings or whole families, and they don't always mesh, because you wind up with that family drama, that band drama, the industry drama, and all of that comes together. So hopefully they never lose this, because it's important that their family comes first, that they keep that cohesion together. Them staying independent, at least I think they've stayed independent, will help, because they're not going to have to deal with the industry, publishers, producers. They're going to have to deal with that drama. But, they've got to keep that family cohesion is so important when you're working like this.
it was one of my favorite songs.
Yes.
After we finished it, and we
me
speak
too.
Japanese on that song. Like we at least I really wanted to like put a little bit of part like for influences there, because we have been watching a lot. Whoa, we wrote this song a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, like in that time, I remember hearing that song, that word a lot, korosu, in animes, which is basically it's kill. Basically, they always
You
like.
did the same thing.
So we wanted to incorporate that, and I just thought it was like the perfect song to say
do that.
korosu. It was like
Yes.
very good, and yeah. So basically, korosu is the verb to kill. It's kill. Korosu means kill, which
That's so
honestly,
dark.
it's very dark.
Yes.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, a little bit dark.
No,
Yeah.
but it was just something that fit perfectly.
Yeah.
And
our
of course, we're
character's
not
story.
promoting like for anybody. We're not encouraging anybody to go and like kill. Not
We're
really,
just
guys.
telling a story.
We're just telling a story. But that's on. Wait.
That's a very important point that they're making right there, because it is I often see people think, or they kind of make the correlation that if an author writes a thing, that they're either normalizing it, encouraging it, they agree with it. And it's sad that writers, that authors, people telling a story have to stop back and say, oh, wait. I don't mean I want you to go out and do that thing. Like, we shouldn't have to say that. But unfortunately, there are people out there who think that if an author writes a story with bad things in it, dark themes in it, that they somehow agree with those things. Or people believe that if media like video games or movies or music or whatever has violence, that it normalizes violence. And it's sad that we've got to do that, because storytellers, our jobs as storytellers are to shine a light on the dark parts of human nature. Stories that are all happy and everything goes well and there's a big happy ending and there's no conflict and everybody lives a happy life, those are boring stories. They don't exist. If they do exist, they're boring as hell. Stories that are fun to read are stories where there's conflict, where there's dark things, where people do bad things, where bad things happen to good people. And at the end, they come out of it often and there's a happy ending, but the story itself is not happy. And for us to have to say, no, wait, I don't want you to do things that I've put in my story. That's not what I mean. That's just a sad place to be. And unfortunately, we're there. Where I see it more and more as a writer in this industry, that, you know, people are losing book deals because, I forget her name, but there was an author from Russia who wrote a book set in like Victorian era fantasy Russia. There was magic and everything, so it was totally fantasy. During the time of the czars, you know, set a long time ago, obviously. And because there was slavery in the book, she lost her book deal because people lost their minds, thinking that for some reason she was making it okay. And it's not. It's just a reality of the world, and it's a dark part of human history. And she was just putting that in the book. And so it's sad that we have to say that, but it's also what makes a good story. It's what makes a good storyteller, is someone who can shine a light in the dark corners of human nature and say, here's what you shouldn't do because it's wrong. Here's what will make the world better, you know. And like Paul said, that's why The Queen of the Murder Scene is a masterpiece. The Queen of the Murder Scene is a great story. I love it. That's why I'm so fascinated by this album, is because as a storyteller, it is such a fantastic storytelling medium in music. You know, it's such a... Queen of the Murder Scene should be a book too. It should be a movie. It shouldn't just be an album. Because it's such a good story, I think it would work across, and not every song works that way. I think this one would work across multiple platforms. I could absolutely see this as a book. And thank you, Ed.
The screams. Okay, the screams at the very end.
Sorry, going on further.
Danny recorded them. We recorded them for the demo. It was not even for like the song. And we were like, okay, Danny, just let out a couple of screams, like, chill, just
to see how it sounds.
Yeah, exactly,
like
in the end. And he was like, okay, let's do it.
I turned off the lights. Like,
it was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever endured in my life.
I don't know where I got those screens out. It was
perturbante. That's what it was. It was
horrifying.
We were like Jake, Alia, and I were just like in the room.
And the other,
and
the
we also had the lights turned off. We also had the lights turned off because they bothered Danny.
Yeah.
And God, it was horrible.
The three of us were like,
it was all in one take. She was screaming horribly,
laughing,
and then she started laughing.
Oh wow!
And that was horrible.
The three of us were like,
guys, oh my God.
We recorded the demos like in a week. Like all of them.
Oh wow!
We kind of like.
It's a lot of work.
We had that purpose of recording everything. So I was like, I was in character like the whole week. So I was like, cool. I just let it all out, you know, like.
It was awful.
But
it was.
Oh yeah, those sessions were like.
Perturbante is disturbing.
Yeah,
it was disturbing.
It was a.
But
you
know,
it
made
was
it really cool, yeah.
And we didn't even try it again. I was like, Danny, let's leave it like that. And when we recorded the song.
I don't know.
No, okay, so we used the screams from the demo.
Yeah.
And it sounds
actually
just, like, perfect.
There were some things that we actually used the things that we recorded for the demos on the actual songs, like things that we couldn't really duplicate, like the
intro for Stalker and
the intro for Stalker.
Yeah,
that was recorded in here in our home studio.
Vicios, how to say vicios?
The feedback.
Vicios. The feedback.
Stalker was good. I
that
enjoyed
was like a one-time thing. It came out perfectly.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yes.
It was also very disturbing. Okay, so that's basically chapter 3.
Yeah, that's chapter 3.
And a lot of people asked like the fill from Dull Knives that I removed.
Yeah.
I mean, I was never a really big fan of it. So when we started working on the song, I was like, you know what? I mean, let's take it out. And I really liked how it felt without it. And
it was to support the other line that we incorporated in that song. It was. Okay,
so that part.
So we wanted to do that.
In that part,
That's
basically,
awesome.
instead of re-entering, like I don't know how to say it. Instead of entering on like the downbeat, the like beat 1, with that like rip, it entered in the 1
push.
It's not push. It has.
The
I know it in
end of
Spanish.
the end
like,
of the 4.
Yeah.
The end of
1
the 4.
and yeah, it's the end. I know it in Spanish. I'm sorry. So the end of the 4. We entered in the end of the 4. So it was like it pushed. So with the fill we couldn't do that. So I was like, let's just remove the fill, and I was like, yay! Okay, and so
it's cool to see the them working through. I mean, I've heard so many people talk about learning other languages and learning when it's a necessity, when you just have to learn it. A buddy of mine from high school was a missionary and had gone to Mexico for his mission. He was a Latter-day Saints member, and he was basically put in with a family who did not speak English, and he described it as, you either learn Spanish or you starved. I'm sure it wasn't that extreme, because it's really easy to convey your basic needs. Like, they're going to know if you're all eating at the same time you're going to eat. But it makes sense that like necessity breeds sort of education in a sense. If that's not the right word I'm looking for, but they're working through, trying to apply what they know in Spanish to English and describing it for an English audience in a vlog, which is cool to watch. It's cool to watch them work through that themselves and figure that stuff out. Because of the way our brains work, because of the way we learn, it's fascinating that we're capable of doing that we're capable of learning completely new ways to communicate. Obviously it's doable. People do it all the time. It's just fascinating to me that it works like that. You know what I mean?
we left it like that.
Yeah.
And
also, one point that I'm sorry.
No, yo no tenía nada que decir.
Oh my God, sorry. Oh yeah, one important thing that we have been seeing, like, why didn't we make Dull Knives longer? Okay, so we actually did try, guys. We did.
Was it too short?
I know. We actually incorporated a little solo, and then we went back to the chorus and everything. But you know what?
It was horrible.
It was awful.
Nothing fitted correctly. The song was begging us to
just
leave
leave
it
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah, we did try to make
did
it
like
wanna-
a ton of things.
I love that. That's how a writer brain works. Paul said it's amazing their English is their second language, and yet they speak English better than they do speak English very well. That is what she just described, is something that is hard for a creator or for a writer to describe. We just know. We just know how long a scene's supposed to be. We just know how long a chapter's supposed to be, or we know how long a song is supposed to be. And it's hard to describe, it's hard to describe that. And I know it's frustrating for new people who come into this art, whether it be writing, whether it be making music or whatever it is, or making movies or TV shows. Sometimes people get too stuck in a format. a book should be X amount of words long. A TV show should be an hour long or a half an hour long. A movie should be an hour and a half or 2 hours. And to tell people like, well, how long should a chapter be? Well, it should be as long as you think it needs to be. Well, how do you define that? Well, you'll know when you know. And that's such another vagary. It's like, well, how do I know if I don't know? But that's why I'm asking. Well, you'll know when you know. It will feel too long if it's too long. It will feel too short if it's too short. You'll know when you know. And like I said in the last one, it's interesting to see that the songwriting brain is similar to the book writing brain in that sort of context. And I'm sure it's the same for people who make plays, who make movies, who make TV shows, who make video games. There are certain things that you just know, that you just feel, that you just know. Or again, it's normal length and it's so good everyone wants more of it. And that's normal too. How many times have you watched a movie that ended and you were like, man, I could have used another 30 minutes of that? Or a book. You get done with a book and you're like, I need more. But the writer knows, or the musician knows, or the creator knows how long is too long. And they know, and it keeps you wanting more. That's the trick, is it keeps you wanting more. It makes you turn that page. It makes you hit the next button, and it makes you go watch the next show. Whatever it is, it makes you want more. And that's part of our job.
We didn't want to fix something that was not broken. Like, no, sorry. Okay. Stop it, guys. Okay, so yeah, actually we did try, but none of the
parts we incorporated
actually made it feel less than it already was. Like it ended like this, and we just kind of like.
We liked it the way it was.
Yeah, it ended on a chorus and stuff like.
No, it was bad.
No, it was bad. So, like, thank you guys for really, really liking that song.
Yeah.
Like, we're really proud of it too. So,
yeah,
the good thing is that if you really, really love it and you want it to be longer, you can always play it again.
Exactly. And that was
See?
a really cool thing
You
about
can always
it,
play it
that
again.
You got like left with this feeling that you just wanted it to continue, but there was nothing more. So you didn't have any other option but just to play it again. And we kind of loved that. So we were like,
strategy.
Why fix something that isn't broken?
Right?
Sorry, that's the face of this blog. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of chapter 4. Guys,
just a little bit of fun fact. Okay, in Sinister Smiles, you see there's like a weird crash. It sounds like clapping, I guess.
It sounds like
but basically, what we used for that,
it's a weird instrument.
No, it's a traditional Mexican instrument.
Oh, really?
Okay. Our grandfather gave it to us like 5-6 years
Yeah,
ago.
so you can use this in your songs, and we had it completely abandoned because it sounds really weird. It's
5-6 years abandoned in the back of the room. It was just
really
there.
It had
What's it
like,
called?
Dust.
No. Spider webs. Like it had spider webs. I had to clean them out. I know.
Okay, but it sounded really cool, and it sounded like this weird, like, tribal thing.
That's neat.
Which we were trying to, like, incorporate. It just sounded so cool, and we're like, leave it.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the falsettos?
No, that's really cool that I love when bands experiment. I love when bands try new things. The Warning is good about that. They try new styles. Their latest song is so different than the stuff that they've been putting out. Trying new instruments, trying new sounds. A lot of bands, especially when they want to be on the radio, they play the same stuff. They try the same things because it's what works. It's what worked for other bands. So they're chasing this trend. They're doing whatever worked. So to experiment with a new sound, a new instrument, a different kind of thing is really cool. And that it was linked to their family, that it was something their grandfather, that's really neat. I love seeing that kind of family connection there, and it hits a little deep for me because I'm missing a lot of that in my life, connection to my past because of circumstances that have happened. So that's kind of cool. I like that they were able to do that and that it worked and that they liked it.
I do do them, and
Ale sings them. There are a lot of people saying that it wasn't Ale.
but it is.
It is
just
Ale.
two.
Ale sings those parts. Ale
Yeah,
has,
the three of us sing the chorus.
yeah, but like in terms of range, like Ale has one of the highest ranges.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, you have the lowest range.
I have the lowest.
I
range.
have the highest range and
But
the.
just because you haven't worked on it, I had the lowest range.
Oh yeah, Danny had the. That's why he said I have the highest range, but I'm the one who works on it less. But like for lower tones, I cannot reach them.
Because look, this is the difference between Pau and my voice. So she has the highest range, but her
Like my
harmonics, no, how is it?
Overtones.
Her overtones are
deeper.
So
So
her voice
it
sounds
sounds like I
deeper.
can reach lower notes, but I cannot reach lower notes
She
at
reads
all.
higher notes than me, but my voice is like super high. So
Super high.
it sounds like I can reach higher notes, but actually I'm the one who can fit the lowest.
Lowest.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Ale has
What's
just
the
like
song that goes like super low that you can like?
it's
That's mine.
I had to practice.
Even doubt it.
And
And it's so
wait,
natural
wait, do
for
it,
me.
do it, do it.
Even doubt it.
And for me, it's even down.
And I can just
I
barely
can
do it.
barely reach it, but I had to practice so much for it so I could do it live. But
Yes.
I mean, it sounds good, so it's fine.
So yeah, we managed. Okay. I just wanted to say, guys, that even though like we planned this album with our own stories and something like even in our own heads, the story is a little bit different for each one of us. Like she's the
yeah.
one who started it, and I'm like each one of us has a different imagination. And at the end of the day, so whatever you guys come up with can be that too. You know, it's like everyone can.
So we call back to that interpretation of art is absolutely on the viewer, the listener, the reader as well. And most of us creators recognize that. But a lot of us want the reader to also recognize that we did have an intent. You know, death of the author, death of the, I guess you could say, death of the musician. To us is almost an offense because you're saying we don't matter. We created what you're experiencing. But we do accept that what we've created can have different meanings, can give you guys different insight, can help you through different challenges. And that's what they're saying here too. And I like that because for such a young group of creators, for them to recognize the importance of it. And I think it's almost inherent in us. It's inherent in us as creators that we want people to accept our art for what we intended it to be, but we also accept that you may get something different out of it that we didn't expect. So I like that they're putting that out there and that they recognize that as well.
Give it a little bit of taste of what.
Yeah, a little bit like their own twist.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we
Everything's
even
possible.
should say the real. Oh, we are at some point going to say the real story.
Mhm.
But I've seen a lot of comments and like, where did they get that
I know.
from? But it's actually pretty.
I've seen
You
that too.
guys kind of describe it better than we do.
Yeah, honestly.
That's why I think that's why we made it into songs. If not, we would have made a book. But
Thank
like,
God
should
we
make
didn't
a
make a
book.
book because we cannot even
Book.
explain ourselves with
you
words.
guys are so descriptive. It's awesome. Like
It's
we
amazing,
read
guys,
your
seriously.
comments and it's like that was what's in my head. You know. So like.
Somebody
so,
needs
yes,
to write a book.
You guys are spot on. Like some of you guys' comments are super great. Really. So stick with your own stories too. I think we kind of make the story vague enough. So
Yeah,
you
exactly. And it's actually
you know,
like it's a very
twist your-
predictable story, honestly.
It is.
So
I
it's
wouldn't
fun
say that
everybody
yet.
can understand it, and everybody can like. And there is some details that are not really like present in the story.
That's also interesting that they're falling back on what we as authors would refer to as imposter syndrome. They are downplaying the quality or importance of their work and saying, "Oh, it's not as good as you guys think it is." Is it humility? Is it us just not accepting or not believing that we're as good as other people say we are? Is it us comparing ourselves to other creators and saying, "Oh, I'm not as good as that person, so my stuff can't possibly be enjoyable"? It's that is an interesting dynamic even to see in musicians, and that's what that is. That's them saying, "Oh, it's predictable." Well, don't downplay your own work, but we do. That's what artists do. We do that all the time. We downplay our work all the time, but we shouldn't, and they shouldn't. They should absolutely accept that their work is important. That people really see something in it, that they get something out of it. And I'm sorry you're hearing dishes in the background. I forgot to close my studio door. So that's what that is. That's what we call imposter syndrome in the writing sphere.
So anybody can.
And there's some details that we have in our head, but at the moment of communicating them, they just don't come out like as deep. But like
exactly. I mean,
hey, a diver.
Like my version of the story can be really different from their version, because I remember that we changed the story so much.
Oh yeah, we did.
So everybody has a different personality for the character. So it's really cool that you guys are like just
doing
taking
it
the
too.
character
Yeah.
and just like making it like.
We love hearing your stories, and we also we really wanted to focus on the psychological part of what the character was feeling, like everything that's going on in her mind. That's what we wanted to project: the uncertainty, the confusion, and then the total craziness. So I think it. Oh, sorry. I'm babbling now, but you see, that's why we make music, so we can speak through that. So yeah, okay. I
different mediums work for different people.
Words. But everything that you are saying is so right. I mean, we appreciate that you find the deepness in our message and our story. It's not just a novel for us. It's like it really carries a message, not just she's like a murderer.
Yeah, it's really cool that you guys are putting your own little twist to the story, and that everybody interprets.
No,
is that correct?
I agree, Diver. Diver says it's always fun watching Ale Pau giving funny looks at Danny when she isn't, when she can't see them. It's so true, because they, she is definitely the face in this group. She's the more outspoken, the more upfront one, the one that's out there, and they're just behind her, just giving each other. It is such a funny dynamic, and I mean they're sisters. That's kind of what you would expect. It is kind of cool.
Yeah.
That you guys are interpreting,
yeah.
Interpretando.
So weird.
In Spanish, it makes sense. That you guys are
yeah, making
interpretando the story your own way. It's really cool, and we really love
subjective.
to hear your feedback about it. And we're glad that you're taking it with such open arms, because we know it's not an easy topic to swallow. I mean, we're talking about a murderer here, somebody who kills people, which is not something easy to swallow. And we knew that the moment that we were writing that there were going to be some people who were really not going to like what we were talking about, and we're not going to like the twist. No, not the twist, but I mean the turn that we took when writing our music, because we understand that it's very different from what we've done before.
It's good.
But we really like
it's
what
really
we came
good.
up with, and we're really proud of it. So we're glad that most of you are really liking it, and that you guys are just taking this story with open arms now. We really love you for
sure.
it. Thank you guys.
Yes, thank you for all your support.
What's Ale doing?
Oh yes, and so I think this is the end of blog number of chapter 3, and we're gonna do chapter 4. I think we should do it right now. We're on a roll, girl.
Yeah.
I mean, pause
Not
the
in this
video
because it's gonna be
I
super
won't be
long.
doing
We'll
it.
let you rest a bit, but chapter 4 will come soon.
right now, because we're gonna record it right now.
Okay,
then
yeah,
we're gonna
but
upload it.
yeah.
So yeah, guys.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye. See you on the next vlog. I was gonna say chapter. Bye.
Very cool. Diver, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. That was really cool. I again, part of the interest I had in watching these vlogs and reacting to them was to see that the writing process, the creating process, from an author's perspective, is so similar when it comes to what musicians do, what songwriters do. And I'm not surprised by that, but it kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's just kind of one of those things that makes you feel good about what you do, because you know that you're not the only one who is sort of going through these challenges. the blog mate, I'm actually going to cut the video down because it's telling me that the live stream is detecting copyright information, so I took that down. So yeah, we will definitely take a look at Sinister Smiles soon as a review next Wednesday, and then we will take a look at the next vlog in the next reaction. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you being here. Diver, Oregon, Paul, Ed, everybody else, thank you so much. I will see you guys all again soon. You have a great one. Much love. Bye.